Hello and welcome to the May 24th Virginia Opioid Abatement Authority Session for State Agencies. My name is Jennifer Nelson, Virginia Institute of Government, Assistant Director for Membership and Engagement. The Virginia Institute of Government is the leadership development and community engagement arm of the Weldon Cooper Center for Public Service at the University of Virginia. Through our research, leadership development programs, and local government engagement initiatives, we continue to work towards our vision of good governance, equity, and resilience in every Virginia community. State agencies and local governments can access a range of consultation and support services to build more resilient organizations. We have a team of seasoned public service sector leaders and subject matter experts ready and available to facilitate boards of supervisors, city and town councils, leadership teams, strategic planning retreats, and other related events. Today, VIG is glad to partner with the Opioid Abatement Authority for this special session for state agencies. A few housekeeping notes. This session will be recorded and posted on the Weldon Cooper Center for Public Service YouTube channel soon. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat. I will ask them for you. Thanks again for taking time to join us today for this state agency session. There will be one more available on Thursday, June 15 at 10:30 a.m. Now I'm happy to turn things over to the authority's Director of Operations, Charlie Linticum.
Thanks, Jennifer, and thanks as always to you for all your organizational skills around this, as well as partnering with us and continuing to do all these helpful things to get messaging out and give chances for interactions between all the various parties in the OAA. So we really appreciate your all support. So yes, today's question and answer session is specifically for the currently open state agency request for proposal for awards from the Abatement Authority. If you have a question related to the recently closed applications for cities and counties, I'd appreciate if you'd reach out to me, via email. My contact information will be up on the screen in a couple of minutes, and I'd be happy to talk with you about that separately. To get us started today on the state agency stuff, I just kind of copied and pasted in a couple of questions and answers I've had via email in the last week or so from various state agencies. So I'll walk through those real quick and then we'll open it up to everyone. So a technical question kind of related to the performance measure worksheet. There's one about adults from the general public participating in prevention education programming. If a teacher is to become trained in a youth prevention program, do they belong in that category? Or is it referencing programs designed to educate teachers about the dangers of opioids? So our response here is the number of adults from the general public, that specific measure is meant to just for people that are attending a training event to receive the info. So think about doing just like a community revive training or something like that. So this is just supposed to be pushing the information out. There is a separate measure, that's measure number 7, that is for teachers participating in prevention and education programming. So the idea always for this is supposed to be new people that are engaged in these programs via use of these funds. So whether they were a teacher who was getting trained to do the program, or a teacher who was providing the programming, being paid to provide the program as part of a project, they would both kind of function into that measure. On to the next one, also related to the project timeline workbook. That's one of the, in addition to the proposal, there's a performance measurement workbook that you have to choose some of the pre-selected performance measures from. There's the timeline workbook that kind of shows, what are your kind of objectives and, when are they going to happen over the course of the life of the project that you're requesting funding for. And then there's also a budget file that has to be submitted in addition. But it does not have a specific template. So in our project timeline workbook refers to objectives. Are these basic process objectives like hiring a youth opioid prevention program coordinator, or are they outcome objectives? Should they be identical to the objectives mentioned in the RFP section 5B? So the timeline workbook is really meant to be process objectives, like what things are you doing to kind of get this project off the ground and into an operational status, whether it's hiring people, whether it's, building a facility, whether it's designing procedures and processes to expand, a treatment program, whether it's purchasing and renovating a recovery house, all these kind of different things. And then the things you need to do to get the project to a steady state of operations. Those are the types of things we're looking for. We would assume there would be some loose connection, at least to the objectives in 5B. That section is meant to more be like, what are the objectives, what are the overall kind of intentions of this project for the agency to implement. So would not expect a one-to-one comparison between those, but obviously probably some loose association. So then there was a question about, please explain in the RFP section 5D, a description of how the project aligns with any state and or federal mandates or priorities if applicable. So that is just, we're trying to understand that if a project that's being submitted to the OAA in the proposal aligns with some type of a state or federal program, some effort that's going on, an order like an executive order, such as like the governor's recently released fentanyl related fentanyl solution related executive order, initiatives, that the solution that is in the RFP would align with things like Right Help Right Now. That'd be one of the most obvious ones here in the state. There's not a requirement that it has to align. We would just want to know if it does align with anything, both federally and state, and just helps us frame more of what's going on, and so we can see how funding is going to be used in line with other funding in those areas. And so another one is the OAA follows the Commonwealth's fiscal year, July 1 through June 30th. We do just like any other state agency. However, for this funding opportunity is structured to be October to September. So the project timeline workbook we referenced a minute ago refers to quarter. It should be following the October to September, and that is correct. State agency awards will run October to September performance period each year, even though the OAA runs on the state fiscal year. And that is to give us, within our small amount of staff, some cushion between our awards to our localities, which run on the state fiscal year, and also to try and help align funding decisions from the OAA to be able to be completed before the end of this decision package process for the state, so that if you need to ask for additional funds, you can note what you did and or didn't get from the OAA related to a particular project as part of your decision package. And also another agency noticed that all the materials, there's a maximum of 5 slots to incorporate different projects, 5 tabs for performance measurements, 5 tabs on summary of proposal, and 5 tabs, I think, on the project timeline. Are you limited to 5 projects? No, that was just kind of a suggestion. I think on our applications from our localities, that was kind of like I think 4 was the maximum we got. So if you have more, that's fine. You may use additional sheets to submit everything. It needs to follow the same format. We just need to have them with if you have 8 projects, we need to know you use the sheet regular stuff for 1 through 5, and then you can use another one and make some note in there that these are 6, 7, and 8, and they need to all your related materials need to match. I need to know what is project 6, what's project 7, what's project 8, and that they are project 6, 7, and 8 in the ranking, because that's one of the requirements of the RFP. If you have multiple projects, they have to be ranked in priority order, so that we know what their priority is. Last from this, and I'll leave this up for a bit while we're chatting other stuff. Here's our timeline. We've opened. We did our first webinar. Here is today. Our 3rd webinar, as Jennifer mentioned, is on June 15th, before our proposal window closes on June 21st. Do remember, in the ensuing timeline, I'll jump down here, executive branch agencies need to submit their proposals through their agency heads and to their secretariats over to the Secretary of HHR for review by June 1st. Any questions about your logistics around that? That's an administration process. Just making sure everybody is aware of it. Talk to your leadership and your secretaries about any other details around that. Back to our timeline. So once the proposal window closes, we expect to conduct evaluation meetings with each agency and discuss any negotiations about scope or budget or timeline, things like that, between June 22nd and August 11th. Then our award determinations will be finalized by our grants committee on August 18th. And then we would expect to finalize an MOU between the OAA and the awarded agencies and transmit the awards in October. As also mentioned, subsequent proposal periods will be open April 1 to June 1 of each year. If you are not already subscribed for our OAA news updates email list, you go to our website and just scroll to the bottom of the page. There's a form there to fill it out. Here's my contact info as well. So, and like I said, I'll leave this up for a few, and I'll open it up for questions, even if you have questions about the questions that I just went through.
Go ahead and enter them into the chat, and we'll get the conversation started. So, Charlie, one of the other things that the opioid abatement is doing is the Abatement Academy, which occurs on the 2nd and 4th Thursdays of the month, from now until the end of the year, basically. We can listen to stories of people who are doing great work with abatement, and we can learn from them. So if you're interested in any of those sessions, we have the full schedule available now, and I'm sure that's available on the opioid abatement website.
The schedule is out there. I need to now update the list with the file that has all the details as to what's going on each one. But the thing that's out there on our page that has the news update that has the link to it, the registration link will still also show you what the different subjects are. So, but yeah, we'll have that updated. And if I have a minute, I'll try to put that up before we end today.
And the speakers have been great. And if you want to see the videos, we have those available as well. So we did get a question that came in that says, what needs to be submitted to our secretary by June 1st? Just the budget proposal or the whole proposal? How do we document that this has happened for our June 21st proposal?
The process for submitting through what needs to be submitted through to through your secretariats to HHR, and you need to talk to your leadership and your secretariats about that. That is a process that the administration has put in place. That's not an OAA requirement. So it's just this from us. This is just kind of an FYI, so you don't miss that piece. If you are not an executive branch agency, I don't believe you need to follow that process. You can submit directly to us on the 21st, but check with your leadership and everything. They should be able to help with that. But I don't know what level of detail they are looking for. So that's why I would have to check with your leadership on that. So maybe if Lynette has an opportunity to be on, maybe she can answer that, or I can potentially reach out to her and see if there's some communication that can come out on that. So as far as approval to us, I don't know that we need anything to know that it went through. We're going to assume that it has been through that process, and what comes to us is what's been approved by the governor's office to be submitted. So we work pretty closely with the Secretary of Health and Human Resources so we could get that validated if we needed to. So I'm not expecting you to submit anything to me to tell me that you did that. That's on the that's an administration requirement, not an OAA requirement.
Very good. That's the only question we've had. So just another reminder, there's going to be another session. So please join us for that. I will likely send you a link so you can join us. But if we don't have any more questions today, I guess we can wrap it up. Charlie, thank you so much for your time. Adam and Kara from OAA, thank you for joining us. Thank you everyone for taking the time to hear what we have to do to get this money to you.
Yes, and if in between now and June 1st or June 15th, you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Happy to have either do an email conversation or hop on a virtual meeting to talk through stuff. Happy to review any drafts for feedback before submittal. Reviewing the draft doesn't give you any advantage of funding, but it just makes it it may ease the process once we get it, that as far as, you know, follow up for other materials or clarity and that kind of thing. So we're happy to make sure they're any of them are at the best level they can be for consideration by our grants committee. So we're happy to help out for anybody that needs it.